Hey, Ash from All Things Dentistry, the place where we're passionate about sharing those unwritten hints and tips of dentistry. Today's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna be talking more of a slide deck, but don't leave yet. You might. There's a couple things here. I kind of want to go over this gingival abscess. So I posted this in the community a few days ago. I thought it was a week ago. It's time's flying by. Apparently not. But another provider picked this up. The patient presented with pain to. Well, actually, the patient had a bump on his gum and it had been painful, no spontaneous pain, no hot or cold pain, pain to biting, and just kind of pain all around. And the patient, you couldn't probe the situation. So that's kind of where we're at now. And I need to shout out. So I posted this in the community. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and like. I usually don't say that, but oh hell, I'll just say it today. And I need to shout out to FL because he posted just like 20 minutes ago. Ash, where's that video on the buccal fistula, which I'm assuming is this? And I was like, oh, I'm actually making it right now. Seriously, are your ears burning? And he said, haha, like burning mouth syndrome. So I thought it was a little bit funny that I was like, oh, I'm literally cutting it at this moment. So here we go. And I need to shout out to everyone who put some comments in here. I'm super grateful for the community. We post trying to put stuff in that, we see every day or here and there. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to share with you. And I'm absolutely grateful for you to be here. So shout out to everybody who put some comments in here. Certainly, I love this vertical root fracture all day long. We'll get to that in a second, see if it is. And so it's just kind of, it's nice. So, and the idea is that once you see it once, and this isn't a video about extracting whatnot, it's just kind of the idea. And actually, hang on, because there's a couple things at the end of this video. I'm going to show you what it is and then kind of some biological considerations and then actually a little bit about the unconfident dentist. I think, and I read and I listen to a lot of things about motivation and whatnot, that type of cheesy stuff, and you're into that. Great. If you're not, you can clip off. I'll tell you when to drop the line. But stick around for that because I had almost 1,000 people, I don't know if it's on here, 1,000 people respond to the confidence in dentistry, and I completely understand it. And I kind of want to put it at the end of this, so I'm sneaking it in. So if you're interested, stick around to the end, and then if there's a great outcome, then we'll start posting some more stuff because I've got my own ideas about kind of building confidence and kind of in my own experience. Anyways, enough yapping about that. So here's the situation here. And so we've got this buccal abscess. This is a tooth when it came out. So I wasn't there. It was extracted. Patient came in the morning. It was extracted in the afternoon. And I asked them, please save it because I wanted to share with you because I wanted to see myself. And this is just with my iPhone, the picture. I used it under a microscope, but it wasn't as clear. So I just instead of having video and having it move around, I can do that. Put in the comments below if you do want to see that. But the still photos are really useful. So you can see here, let's take a look. So the tooth was split. It was a vertical root fracture. And a vertical root fracture, I'm not going to get into the details, but from my understanding, and it has changed throughout the past 20 years I've been doing this, there's cracked teeth, there's root fractures, there's vertical root fractures, and really the idea of a vertical root fracture from my training, and I think it's still applicable, is that the diagnosis of a vertical root fracture really comes from a post-endodontically treated tooth where there's compaction forces cause slow cracking of this tooth over time, and finally you get that split. So it's from the apex all the way to the coronal portion. And you can see probably there's a high probability of doing this with a lateral condensation technique. And these are, if you're not familiar with these little carrots, these little rubber carrots are called, I'm just kidding. So you can see we've got a whole slew of these little gutta percha carrots. Kind of reminds me like of a beaver dam or like a bird's nest, trying to put them all together. And the technique works. And let's go ahead and let's look at the radiographs. And I'm not going to give it to you right away, but let's look at 2018. There's a panoramic radiograph. We had great healing. Here's 2013. We've got no lesion. We still got a crown. It looks great, right? Amazing. 2021. Look at this PA. Amazing. Look how short this is. I love this x-ray because it really confirms for me slowly over time as I do more of this, just continue my learning, is that these are pretty stable results. Less than 2 millimeters away from the radiographic apex, you'll probably have success, even though Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and whatever other things are out there. TikTok, that's the other one. I'm guilty myself, don't get me wrong, because it's so slowly like a slow virus, maybe coronavirus, where that was pretty quick, but slowly you start seeing people with these puffs and whatnot that confirm potentially radiographic you've got patency. Arguably you have patency when you have a puff, but do you actually have proper cleaning and shaping is the next question. And I don't think I have that answer. But I would say that arguably, look at this tooth lasted, I don't know when the root canal was started. I just have that radiograph from the panel from 2013. So for 8 years, we had short, and it didn't look like it was having any problems until, boom, it fractured. So, if I'm going to kind of deduct, what's that, deductive reasoning, that it probably would be fine until it just broke and gave up. So it's interesting, like in the course of a year, actually it could have been 6 months, it could have been 2 months, I have no idea, because that's all we have, that this, we had this large radiographic, huge J lesion. This is like a capital J right here for this vertical, capital J. If you don't know what a J lesion is, this is a pretty darn good example of it, and certainly there'll probably be probing depths here. So this is a vertical root fracture. The hypothesis is that it starts from the apical portion and extends coronally. Does it really matter? I don't know. But what I did want to talk about, if you're still here, I'm super grateful you're here, and it's just really more about the biological portion of this, is that when I looked under this microscope with this tooth, there are two foramina here, but the provider stopped right at this junction where it kind of splits, and they're microforamina. They're like tiny, tiny little wee ones. And it's almost like most likely this tooth was vital or recently necrotic without a lesion. So that's probably one part of why they had great success this short, potentially. Put in the comments below what you think. We do have science, but I think there's still a lot of, how I was trained, how I believe, and based on your past failures or successes. I think that's how we work as clinicians, even though we have all these articles, but it still comes down to kind of what you see, how you feel, and what you've been doing and what's worked for you. And I wanted to bring this up because here's another example of a great size. So size is one of the diameter is a great, I'm not talking about the taper of it, but I'm talking about the apical size. So probably like a 35-40 size finish. And then there's no sealer, nothing in there. Maybe it washed away, who knows? But even if it didn't, it's not there and it's still good. And then we've got cleaning and shaping of this entire canal, the entire thing. So it's brushing back and forth with your reciprocating or rotary files. And this is a 50-50 tooth. So 50% of the time there's two canals, 50% of the time there's one canal. So if you do have one canal, or say, for example, you haven't unroofed the entire width of this, the problem I've seen, especially in mandibular incisors, is that you clean and shape half of this tooth and you think like, oh, I got in it because I've mimicked the small accesses that we see online. So I'm going to, I pop in, this has been me. I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I pop in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in, when I was using my 2.0 loops. I graduated dental school without loops. Come on, this is crazy. So we were doing root canals without loops. If you could imagine that 20 years ago. I'm starting to sound old. But you pop in with your 2.0 loops. You pop in, you're like, thank goodness I got in. Woo! Patient doesn't feel anything, we're good. And then you clean and shape as fast as you can because there's another appointment, there's something going on, and you just don't want to break anything. You don't want to ruin anything. And then you place your cone, you pack your cone in, and you're good. But and this is a great example of complete unroofing of the entire pulp chamber, then you can actually access the rest of that pulp or whatnot. Now, I don't know if this was done in 2 steps. I have no idea anything. All we're looking at is it's like a post-mortem autopsy, if you may. Anyways, let me just go back to this picture right here. So we got this split. We've got this kind of, arguably probably a post would have been more ideal, but it broke from a vertical root fracture. So maybe a post wasn't necessary. Anyways, that's kind of about it. I want to talk about that. So there you go, my friend FL. That is the post-mortem on that tooth. Let me know what you think. Put your comments in below. If you're looking for an online course, and we've got about 1,000 students through, that is going to give you, all I want to do is I want to build your confidence in doing root canals. That's the whole thing. It's really taken all the things I've learned. It's taken my YouTube page. It's taken everything and compacted into a modular system that you don't have to chase and jump around and look for different things. It's really coming down. It's step by step in terms of predictable endodontics. And I just created a new course. I haven't talked about it much. It's called the MB2 Hunter. If you've gotten down, you're happy with your technique, but it's like, I want to see what are some different, better ways, or not better, that's not what I'm saying, but what are some tips and how to get it into MB2? Well, this course is created for you. So we call it MB2 Hunter. Go ahead and check that out. And the last thing I want to talk about was really confidence in dentistry. And before I get into kind of my own, what my thoughts are and whatnot, because I've got a whole sheet of ideas and thoughts about confidence. And maybe it's not even confidence, but there's a lot of other things. But if you can, this link is in the description box below. This is from a guy named Tom Bilu. His YouTube channel, he's got like almost 2 million subscribers, and he has this channel called Impact Theory. This guy right here, whose face is on here, is very interesting. His name's Trevor Moed. I'm not going to tell you much about it, but this video, I've done a lot of self-help myself, and because dentistry is difficult, not only just dentistry, but life in general, and doing lots of things. Let me know what you think. If you watch this video, it's really quick. It's half an hour. It is absolutely amazing. I can't believe that this was not taught to me years ago. And it's not about, like, I can sit here and tell you how to meditate. I meditate 2 times a day. I didn't meditate when I was in my 20s. I didn't meditate when I was in my 30s. I mean, who the hell wants to do that when you're that young? But when you get into your 40s, it's a different mindset, right, of life. But this one, had I been told this probably when I was in my 20s, I might have actually used it a little bit here. So I really want to know what your thoughts are. Actually, I really want to know also about trying to build a community about this topic and I appreciate if you made it to this point, but it's really about, I don't know if it's bringing awareness. I don't know if it's bringing, it's not confidence. Maybe it is confidence. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just being able to manage the stresses of being a dentist, all of those things. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to create a community that is safe, that is not critical, that it doesn't have lurkers watching these videos and like, oh, you guys, this and that, and it's not that, because then that prevents people from actually sharing the way they feel and possibly in getting feeling better about themselves or feeling better about their practice, or actually saying, oh, hell with this, dentistry is not for me. I finally realized it. And I have the courage now to go and do something different, or whatever the situation is. So if you have an idea, I'd really appreciate that, whether it's like a private Facebook group. I'm not sure what to do. Or maybe I was thinking about making a membership in YouTube. Not like it'd be free, but you have to join the membership. Some of those channels have them. You join as a member. But there'd be no cost associated, but just kind of a place off the side where we can still have these conversations, because I think they're really important. I know they're very important. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. I'm super grateful you're here and you made it to the end. And go ahead and like and subscribe, and share this video. Actually, I'd really appreciate that. If you find it useful, share it on your social media. Anyways, we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.